Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday. Here we are talking about what's going on with the price of Bitcoin. Today is decision day, where we should be hearing from the SEC where they decide whether to delay, accept or reject those spot Bitcoin ETFs from massive companies, including BlackRock, Fidelity, and many others. So we will be discussing that in today's stream. We'll recap what happened yesterday as well, because yesterday was pretty chaotic for a Monday afternoon. And then we'll take a look at the rest of the cryptocurrency news and see what else is going on there. Now, the price of Bitcoin may have reached $30,000 yesterday and may have suddenly fallen. However, we are still up in the last 24 hours. If we take a look at this, you can see Bitcoin is trading at $28,420, up 2.47%. So that's a pretty nice move to the upside there. In the last 7 days, we are up 2.8% there as well. Ethereum hasn't seen the same effect, but obviously we haven't seen as much news about Ethereum within the last couple of days. Let's take a look at the biggest gainers and losers before we get onto that and get on to talking about the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Biggest gainers of the week here, we've got BSV, Bitcoin, and we've got Solana, and then we've got BNX and HOT as there as well. So we're looking at 7% gains on those higher ones there. And then on the biggest losers, we've got Trust Wallets token, TWT, down almost 10%, Rune down almost 6%, Maker and Elrond there as well. Now, I believe Elrond's been performing incredibly poorly in this bear market. We can see here, where was Elrond's all-time high in 2021? It reached a price of $557 and it's now trading at $24, and it just seems to be getting lower and lower. We can see here it's almost at an all-time low for this bear market. If we take a look at the price here, let's take a look here. We can see the all-time low for the bear market has been $22. We're currently trading at $24. Not much difference in it there. That's very low, extremely low for Elrond there. I know a lot of people that have invested into that and do believe in the long term of that project, but we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how that plays out. As I said, I am basically all in on Bitcoin right now, not looking at the altcoins just yet. I don't think personally that it is time for my own portfolio to be diversifying into altcoins, but nothing here is financial advice. We all have to do our own analysis and do our own conclusions, and you have to make sure you are taking on the risks that you see fit for your own positions. I personally see that Bitcoin is the token that I want to be holding on to for the next 6 months, and then when that Bitcoin halving hits, maybe I'll change that around, maybe I'll do something different. Let's see what's going on in the cryptocurrency news today anyway, because that's what we're all here for, that's what we need to discuss. Before we do, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell notification button. Let's see that everything's running smoothly here. It looks like things are slow on my end. Oh, I've just not pressed play. Here we go. We're in action. Everybody can see what we're talking about here. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Thank you very much for tuning in. Once again, let's take a look at what went on yesterday. Now the whirlwind is over, we can take a look and we can make a more informed decision on what's going on here. So first of all, big news over the weekend was that the SEC did not appeal their lawsuit against Grayscale. So the SEC ran a lawsuit against Grayscale, in which Grayscale was saying the SEC wrongfully rejected their applications to turn their Bitcoin Trust GBTC into a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now that went to court, there was a whole lawsuit, and the SEC lost. The courts ruled in favor of Grayscale and basically said the SEC shouldn't have rejected their application for a spot Bitcoin ETF because they'd accepted other products like Bitcoin futures that have the same underlying assets. Now, the reason the SEC was rejecting those applications was because they were saying that there's not enough regulation around making sure there's no market manipulation on cryptocurrency exchanges. But if they've accepted Bitcoin futures, they have to accept spot Bitcoin ETFs unless they can find another reason to reject these products. Now, the SEC had 45 days after the end of that lawsuit to appeal that decision, and they did not. The 45th day was on Saturday or Sunday last weekend, and they did not appeal that lawsuit. So that was a win for the cryptocurrency space once again. Now, the outcome of that is the SEC either need to come up with another reason to reject spot Bitcoin ETFs, or they need to accept them. It's as simple as that. They can't use that excuse when they've already accepted Bitcoin futures products, so they need to either find a new reason or they need to accept them. And that's why things have got pretty exciting over the weekend, and people were feeling a little bit more positive. Now, we all know BlackRock, Fidelity, Bitwise, VanEck, Wisdom Tree have all filed for spot Bitcoin ETFs within the last year or so, within the last 6 months. The first deadline for that was on the in September, as I said yesterday. Month, then day, always gets me confused. September was the first deadline. We are now on the second deadline here. You can see 17th of October is a massive date on this chart. So we're looking at the iShares Bitcoin Trust. We're looking at the VanEck application, the Wisdom Tree. We're looking at Fidelity, BlackRock. All of these applications have their second deadline today. Now, what this means is the SEC needs to decide by today whether they want to accept, reject, or delay the response to these applications. Now, we've already seen one delay from the first deadline there. This is the second deadline. I am in the party and with people that believe they are going to push this off for as long as possible. I'm not expecting the applications to be accepted until at least March next year, when we've got those final deadlines of the 14th and 15th of March next year. But I am in the party that do believe we will get these accepted at some point in time, and I believe that is very, very exciting news. We did unfortunately see some leaked news yesterday, some false news that Cointelegraph published that there was a spot Bitcoin ETF acceptance for the BlackRock iShares Trust. It was fake news, however, it caused the price of Bitcoin to increase massively. We saw the price increase to over $30,000 very, very briefly, and with that we saw the excitement which could come if we see the real acceptance of these spot Bitcoin ETFs. So fingers crossed we do see an acceptance soon, and fingers crossed we see the same sort of results as we did off the back of that fake news yesterday. Unfortunately, a lot of people were liquidated in that news yesterday. If we take a look at this article here, you can see $65 million worth of Bitcoin traders were liquidated within minutes, $62 million worth of short positions, and $13 million worth of long positions there. So really unfortunate to see that fake news coming out from Cointelegraph. They have apologized for their tweets. They spoke to BlackRock, who confirmed the information was not true. They've put out a whole article explaining that it was human error and how the error took place internally in the company. But all I can say is, if you want reliable cryptocurrency news, make sure to check out cryptosavingexpert.com. We are a cryptocurrency news site. We do these live streams every single weekday, recapping what's gone on in the news. But we're not only a news site, we also have market data, we have cryptocurrency courses, we have cryptocurrency guides, we have an A to Z teaching you everything about crypto, and we have a deals page there as well, so you can see the latest deals in crypto and get some discounts if you're looking to sign up to some exchanges, wallets, and VPNs, and more. So make sure to check that out on cryptosavingexpert.com. Big news as well, if you are a Community Plus member or a premium member and you are in the Discord, we are doing a town hall event on Thursday at 5 p.m. BST time, so make sure to stay tuned till then. And if you are not a premium member or a Community Plus member and you want to be in that call, make sure to sign up before then. In that call we will have that Martini guy and the rest of the cryptocurrency team, Crypto Saving Expert team, and we will be discussing the latest things in crypto, answering some of your questions and all of that good stuff. And it's just nice to be part of the community when things like this take place. We've just put a tweet out, I believe. Here we go. So this has got all the information you need. Town hall meeting with that Martini guy, Thursday the 19th of October at 4 p.m. UST. 4 p.m. UTC. That is 5 p.m. BST, I believe. So I will drop the link to that in today's chat. So if you are a member, you can stay tuned on that. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news here today. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. The main outcome of this Bitcoin ETF application news is we are going to get a decision today. Make sure to stay tuned. Put our tweet notifications on at Crypto Saving Expert on Twitter, because we will be announcing the outcome of today's deadline as soon as it happens. We are very excited to see what's going to happen here. A lot of people are speculating that the news from Cointelegraph was the news being released early that BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF have been accepted. I personally believe that's a bit unlikely, but you never know. Some exciting things could be happening today, and I'm definitely waiting in position for some changes in the markets. We will be analysing the price of Bitcoin at the end of today's stream, so make sure to stay tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency space. As we said yesterday, the US government is one of the world's largest Bitcoin holders. I believe this is even more of a reason for them to accept that spot Bitcoin ETF from BlackRock. We know this, they've got this Bitcoin because they've seized so much Bitcoin over the last couple of years, and it takes a long time for them to be able to sell that Bitcoin, and therefore we see them hodling on for the long term. Let's see what else is going on here. Jason Smith says, good evening from Australia. Good evening. Thank you very much for tuning in as always. It's nice to see people tuning in from all across the world. I will be visiting Australia later, very, very soon. So it's nice to hear that we've got people all over the world watching these live streams. Let's see what else is going on in the news here. Binance to stop accepting new UK users to comply with ad rules. We've seen a huge change in UK regulation of cryptocurrency within the last week. It came in on Sunday. What was it? It wasn't this Sunday gone. It was the Sunday before. UK regulation around cryptocurrency has changed massively. We're going to see a change in the way the UK is adopting cryptocurrency, unfortunately, because the new rules aren't something that I'm particularly happy with. Let's just say that. It's not making it easy. It's not making it easy for growth, and it's not really on the mission that they said they were on to create the cryptocurrency hotspot in the UK. Very, very frustrating to see this news, but we are trying to move on from this, trying to build with the regulators and trying to still and educate people about the cryptocurrency space in the best way possible. We all knew that regulation was coming in. We were just hoping that it would be in a way that we could still grow the industry and still see growth of the industry. But we're seeing a lot of regulation all over the world, not just in the UK, that is making that incredibly difficult. We all were expecting this, and as I keep saying, it's better for it to come now than at the peak of the bull market. Regulation is something we need, and as we were seeing time going on, regulators weren't stepping in, and we were just kicking the can down the road, and we needed it to come in sooner or later. Unfortunately, it is pretty tight at the moment. Hopefully it will kind of lighten off within the coming years, but this is the scenario right now, and we have to deal with it and move forwards. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency space here. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We do these live streams every single weekday, so make sure to tune in and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss these live streams here. Let's see what else is going on in the news here. We are talking about FTX today. Now, we haven't spoken about this recently, but SBF is still on trial. This is week 3 of the trial. It's expected to be about 6 weeks. We're seeing many of his leaders from FTX and Alameda Research speaking in the trial and discussing what was actually going on behind closed doors. A lot of the main executives in both companies have pleaded guilty and have agreed to cooperate with the Department of Justice and answer any questions in trial. We've seen SBF's ex-girlfriend, Caroline Ellison, and we've seen Gary Wang talking about what was actually happening behind closed doors at FTX. We've seen a lot of big statements being made in this courtroom. We've seen Caroline Ellison say that SBF was actually planning to run for president. We've also seen them admit that they were using user funds to spend on sponsorships from big sports players and to send money to political parties in the US. So a huge amount of news has been coming out throughout this trial. The latest news here is FTX customers may receive 90% of funds by 2024. So FTX has proposed a settlement plan that could see customers reimbursed by the end of the second quarter of next year. That is brilliant news. That is what we all want to be hearing. FTX debtors announced on Monday they have reached a settlement agreement with creditors of the bankrupt exchange to resolve customer property disputes and expedite the timeline for customer recoveries, subject to the bankruptcy court's approval. Now, we did see a final deadline of the 31st of October 2023 being pushed back to the 31st of October 2024, but they are still working very hard to try and refund customers as soon as possible. It's nice to see this being much quicker than the Mt. Gox repayment, which we are still waiting for. It's absolutely crazy what's been going on here. We've got another article about SBF and what's been coming out in court here. Jason Smith said, I still think SBF will forever go down swinging. It's an interesting case, this one. I can see it going on for a very, very long time. SBF has rebooked, what is this guy's job? He is the former engineer director, Mr. Singh, for complaining about the excessive misappropriation of user funds. So Singh revealed that his respect and admiration for SBF at the onset of his employment at FTX gradually crumbled over his high school friend's request frequent use of customer funds. So essentially this guy said, look, I came into the company thinking SBF was amazing, and then over time I realized that he was using customer funds to fund his donations to political parties and to sportsmen, and my admiration has slowly dwindled. So we are seeing here the former FTX engineer head told the court that he deciphered through conversations that SBF sent the funds to FTX's sister trading firm Alameda for political donations, venture investments, real estate purchases, and lavish expenditures. He disclosed that the former FTX CEO often ignored complaints from members of his close circle and made poor investments, intending to associate his business with influential people like celebrities and politicians. So from admiration to shame here. Now, this is something that's happened pretty on a bigger scale than this. A lot of people had a lot of respect for SBF before all this news came out about FTX. SPF went to university and then went to work for a market maker, Jane Street, I believe it was called, and then he went on to trade the Kimchi Premium, which was essentially where he was arbitrage trading Bitcoin between a $10,000 region and a $15,000 region, buying Bitcoin for $10,000, selling it for $15,000, wire transferring those funds back, and then completing the circle again, over and over again. And SBF managed to make a huge amount of money from this. He raised funds to do that on a bigger scale, because that's one of those opportunities that you need to take advantage of before somebody else does. Eventually, the amount of buying pressure in the $10,000 zone and the selling pressure in the $15,000 zone will even out, and they will sort of come to a happy medium and be the same price. So SBF took advantage of that loop, continued to arbitrage that until the opportunity was no more, made a huge amount of money, set up FTX. Everybody thought he was brilliant. Everybody thought he was a genius. And then FTX unfortunately did what it did and destroyed his reputation there. So that's what happened there. So a lot of people had a huge amount of respect for him. We don't anymore. I don't think we ever will ever again. This guy was also promoting the regulation of cryptocurrency in the US. He was working very closely with regulators even up to the days before the news of FTX's collapse came out, and trying to push FTX to be the leading cryptocurrency exchange in the US, and trying to push regulation that he knew a lot of people that were in cryptocurrency would be very, very happy about. So everybody was cheering him on until literally days before SBF had to pause withdrawals on FTX. So that's what's really happened there. It's a huge shame to see this change. It would have been brilliant to see some positive regulation coming in, and the cryptocurrency community really having a say on the regulation in the US, but instead FTX was able to have those conversations with the regulators, I imagine, because of the donations he had made, potentially, and unfortunately we have seen the downfall of him and his reputation and the FTX exchange there. But let's continue on to the next story here. Bitcoin liquidity on Binance plummeted during the ETF rumor-induced market roller coaster. So as we said earlier in today's stream, there was a fake news article from Cointelegraph saying that a spot Bitcoin ETF had been accepted for BlackRock. It caused the price of Bitcoin to rocket up to $30,000 momentarily. But in that scenario, the liquidity on Binance plummeted. So this is not what we want to be hearing from Binance here. Binance is the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. It's faced regulatory concerns all over the world. Within the last 6 months, we've seen problems in the US, in the UK. They are no longer accepting new clients from Monday. We have seen huge changes for Binance. We've seen a huge amount of FUD around Binance, and we've seen a huge amount of withdrawals from the centralized exchange. Now we're seeing a lack of liquidity. It seems like one bad thing after another. Now we all know Binance receives a huge amount of FUD during a bear market, and it seems to be that it's happening once again. Unfortunately, the 0.1% ask depth on Binance, a measure of buy-side liquidity, crashed to just 1.2 Bitcoin from 100 Bitcoin as volatility exploded after a false report of BlackRock's spot exchange traded fund approval circulated on social media. The leading cryptocurrency popped 7.5% to $30,000 in a knee-jerk reaction to the rumor, only to give up gains after BlackRock denied the report. So that is absolutely insane. Jason Smith said, do you think someone was longing or shorting the spike? Now that is certainly possible here. It looks like the markets are gearing up for something. We just don't know what it's going to be yet. There's a lot of excitement here in the markets right now. As we were saying towards the end of last week and the week before, the markets look like they are ready for some volatility. The volatility has picked up. We've seen that move to the upside during this period of time. This was the week in which I was doing these live streams with that Martini guy, and we were saying, look, we're expecting a slight pullback to those $26,000 levels, but after that, we're expecting some volatility, and I do believe that a retest of that $32,000 level is coming. Now, we've seen a lot of people be bearish right now. I will be analysing the price of Bitcoin in just a second. I am getting ahead of myself. Let's see what the last news... actually, that was the last news article of the day. So let's go on to the price of Bitcoin now. Let's go on to the daily chart and see what else is going. Anyone else hearing static noises? Right, let me try. Sometimes I need to clap in the microphone and it fixes it. If it didn't fix it, I just look like a fool now. Let's see. Hopefully that worked. This microphone's really, really strange. It's like one of the best microphones you can get. It's the Shure SM7B, and I've got all the equipment you could possibly imagine for a microphone. And sometimes it just makes like that static noise in the background, and it's so frustrating. But hopefully sometimes when I do clap in it, it fixes it and it just needs that loud noise. Let's see what else is going on. Let's analyze the price of Bitcoin here quickly anyway. Let's see what's going on. We need to fix today's stream. YouTube not receiving enough video to maintain stream soothing. Let me know if today's stream is smooth or if there are any problems. It looks okay on one website and not on the other. Not sure what's going on here. Hopefully it's all smooth and correct. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Here we are looking for some levels of support and resistance right now. What have we got here? Let's get the rectangle out. So we are looking at these levels as a level of support. We do not need to be this zoomed out at all here. So we are looking at these levels of support. This is between the $35,200 level to the $34,700 level. We obviously have that level of support at $32,000. One major level of support that we should be looking at is if we reset this price scale here, because everything's looking incredibly messy on today's chart. If we look at the levels that we used as a support back in that May 2021 crash, these are the levels that are really, really important to me. And these are the levels that we need to break to really kickstart the next bull market. And I think this could be a huge, huge range here. In fact, I'm going to be looking at these points all the way up to $33,000 there. So let's pull this across. This is a big, big range. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Scott Mills, morning, Jess. How does the Bitcoin ETF work? Can you buy it on a normal stocks and shares exchange like Hargreaves Lansdowne? So a spot Bitcoin ETF is basically, it's an exchange traded fund. You can buy it like you can a traditional stock, like a traditional ETF. It's an exchange traded fund. So what it is it's a basket of Bitcoin, and it's pegged to the price of Bitcoin. One one GBTC stock, if it were to transfer into an ETF, would be worth one BTC. It's that simple. So anybody can get access to it the same way they get access to traditional stocks, and it really opens the door to a huge amount of investors. There's a huge amount of people out there that want to get exposure to the cryptocurrency space, but don't want to go through the hassle of self-custody. They don't want to go through the hassle of signing up to a centralized exchange. They hear cryptocurrency is a scam, and they don't know what different cryptocurrency exchanges are good and which ones are bad. But if we just have an ETF, it opens up the market to a huge amount of people. People may allocate 1% of their pensions to Bitcoin through the ETFs. People may just say, look, I've got this investment. I want to put 1% exposure to cryptocurrency because it's this speculative asset. We don't really know much about it, but we want to be exposed to it because we've heard really good things. And we'll just see that big wave of adoption, in my opinion, and it can massively change the cryptocurrency space. Anyway, back to the price of Bitcoin here. What we are looking at is Bitcoin is currently trading at $28,500. This is the zone of resistance that I think is very, very important. And this is between the $28,500 level and the $33,500 level. So this is what was used as a level of support multiple times in the previous bull market, and what we are currently using as a zone of resistance. Now, I think this is going to take a huge amount to break through. I think the approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF could be what we need to get through this zone. $32,000 is definitely a level of resistance as well. I think that's going to take a huge amount to actually break, but definitely something I'm keeping my eye on. In terms of the shorter term here, I am expecting more sideways action. We do have 6 more months until that Bitcoin halving, so 6 more months of sideways action, in my opinion. Actually, prior to a halving, we do sometimes see a move to the downside as well. I'm not expecting great things within the next 6 months, but I'm expecting once that Bitcoin halving hits, we see some changes like we have done in previous cycles. At least that's what the pattern would suggest. If we take a look and what's going on here, we definitely have some levels of support on the smaller time frames. If we go to the 4-hour chart, you can see we are in some sort of range here. So you can see we're in between that $28,800 level and the $25,200 level. You can see here we have been rejected from that point currently, but hopefully we managed to get above that. We have been using that level as a support previously there as well on the 4-hour chart. It's so hard to chart the 4-hour candles right now because it is also wicky. If we do so, if we can take a look at this point here, that could potentially be a level of resistance. And we can have a look at these points here as a level of support. In fact, it's probably better to take it from that low there. So we could be looking at these zones here. That is at the $26,800 level and the $29,500 level. But really, what I'm really looking at is this zone here and this zone here on the bigger time frames. Let's see what else is going on here. Jason Smith said, here's an interesting thought. If the Bitcoin ETF was able to show consistent growth over 12 months, by default, it should be accepted into the S&P 500. Then the fun would really begin. Lee says that's what I thought. Maybe a cell phone too close to the microphone. Maybe. Sometimes that is a problem. Hopefully that's a little bit better. There really is some excitement to be had with this Bitcoin ETF. A lot of people are dismissing it and saying, look, it's an ETF. Yeah, it's good, but it's not going to have an effect on the price of Bitcoin. But if you take a look at the price of gold after an ETF was created for it, there was a really positive impact there. And if you take a look at the big analysts, you can see that there's a lot of expectation of a huge amount of money going into Bitcoin and a huge need then for BlackRock and the other companies to be acquiring that Bitcoin because they need to be backed 1-to-1. If we take a look here, the reason we're so excited about the spot Bitcoin ETFs right now is because yesterday we saw the excitement and the potential price action we could see if a spot Bitcoin ETF was accepted. And we are also on the second deadline right now. 16th, 17th of October is the date. And we've got one on the 19th and 21st there as well. But today we will be hearing about BlackRock, about VanEck, Wisdom Tree, Invesco and Galaxy, Fidelity, all of those ETFs. We are going to hear what's happening with them, if the SEC are going to reject, accept, or delay those applications. So stay tuned today. Today is an interesting day. But that's all we really have time for. I need to go and prepare for what else we've got on today. Please don't forget, if you haven't already, Put your reminders on for 5 p.m. BST time or 4 p.m. UTC time on Thursday. If you are a community member of Crypto Saving Experts or a premium member, then you can join our Discord town hall where we'll be discussing what's going on. You can ask some questions to that Martini guy and myself and other members at Crypto Saving Experts, and we'll just have a discussion about what's going on, because we're trying to do these meetings every now and then just to have discussions with our community, get some feedback from you, answer your questions, and just make it really feel like a community at Crypto Saving Expert. But that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, I hope you have enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button.